We live in a time of constant digital connection. Video games, social media, news feeds, streaming TV, and other digital entertainment offer escape, stimulation, and even a sense of community. But what happens when connection to the digital verse turns into disconnection from ourselves? In this video, we're going to look at the difference between solitude and isolation. We will also explore the wisdom of great philosophical and psychological thinkers and how we can reclaim silence, nature, prayer, and genuine human connection. At the end of this video, we'll talk about some of the most important practices you can do to obtain true self-peace and deeper, more meaningful connections. But first, please show your support for this video and our channel by clicking the like button and hitting the subscribe button. Being alone isn't necessarily bad or good. There are times when we need to be alone, away from the demands of work, social media, and digital entertainment. To make this distinction, let's look at isolation versus solitude. Isolation is the experience of being cut off from others. Isolation often happens even in the midst of other people. Psychologist John Cacioppo, who studied loneliness, warned that isolation can damage our health as much as smoking or obesity. Oftentimes, we feel an artificial, but an ultra-stimulating version of reality and social connection when playing video games by ourselves or with others, and when scrolling through social media feeds. The rapid succession of validation and artificial progress and accomplishment through a digital world becomes addictive and distracts us from meaningful, in-person connections. Video games can keep us from connecting to the sights, sounds, smells, and touch of a real, physical world, since virtual substitutions offer more vivid graphics, sounds, and unrealistic physical mechanics, and superhuman abilities that are hyperreal and require less physical exertion and little risk. Solitude, on the other hand, takes more effort to choose disconnection from the digital world. Solitude is not about being alone with nothing, rather, it's about being alone with something deeper. Anthony Storr, psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, refers to solitude as a return to self. In his book, Solitude, Storr emphasizes that solitude, when chosen and embraced, gives us the profound opportunity to reconnect with our inner thoughts, feelings, and identity, rather than defining ourselves solely through our relationships with others. In contrast, when we are hyperconnected to social media, constantly commenting or looking at the posts of others, our sense of authentic self can be overshadowed by the fear of missing out, anxiety about not being included, and an unquenchable, bottomless thirst for validation. Paradoxically, even though we feel that we are choosing to be socially connected on social media, we may actually be enslaved by our addiction to scrolling, liking, and commenting, and as a result, we are actually isolating ourselves. Carl Jung described solitude as a way to meet the depths of the unconscious. In Jung's view, solitude is not an escape from reality or emptiness, rather, it is fertile ground for self-discovery, creativity, and transformation. Video games and social media are not inherently harmful. In fact, they can offer creativity, problem-solving, and even social connections. But we need to recognize the signs when digital entertainment begins to isolate us. Time disappears, and you lose sleep regularly because of gaming and scrolling. Another sign is that work, relationships, self-care, and self are neglected. You feel restless or anxious and disconnected. Escaping into screens replaces facing real problems or emotions, and sometimes, it replaces your own creative and personal goals. You'd rather be writing or pursuing something creative, but, instead, you may start playing a video game. You no longer enjoy games or media, you simply play games, check emails, or scroll through media because it's a habit. So, how do we shift from digital isolation to healthy solitude? First, be aware. Notice when digital media is masking emptiness rather than enriching your life. Next, automate solitude. Use the very technology tools that you're connected to remind you to disconnect. Use your phone to schedule alarms, notices on your phone to remind you to disconnect or to signal you to read, pray, or do something more meaningful. Carl Jung wrote, "Nature is not only all that is visible, it is all the inner picture of the soul." Look up at the sky and identify shapes in the clouds. Focus on listening to and feeling the wind, pay attention to the smell of grass, or listen to the birds. Read actual books and connect the themes, narratives, and principles to everyday life. Remember, video games and social media are not enemies, they are tools. but they should never replace deeper work, solitude, reflection, and genuine human connection. Learn to recognize when digital media is isolating you and make a conscious choice to seek healthy solitude away from video games and social media from time to time.